Ah, okay, everybody. Am I 5 by 5 and clear? Only Tim and stuff. Ed's on the phone and trying to reach her last half hour. So she'll probably be in late, Tim. And Kay's not feeling well tonight. She'll be listening. I decided to come on at 5 because I got a 12-part school board clip. It's 3 minutes of each clip. It was pretty good. And then I got a lot of short. Oh my goodness. Kicking bird. It's been a while. How you been doing? Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Yeah, Kay's listening. I told her to call her if I need her help. So, but yeah, I got a lot of shorts. I got a 20-minute one that's kind of interesting. And then, yeah, we'll get a lot of short ones in tonight. And, yeah, stop by. I think I need about 900 more to get to that super chat. Get monetized, I think. Is that what they call it when you get super chat? I don't know. But Michelle's going to help me put it up. I don't know how it works, but I couldn't do it the first time. Now, the second time around on my big channel. So yeah, Kickbird, this will we get the big channel back, and then the big orange M letter is the backup channel, and then I got a purple channel will be the second backup. When Kay gets time, she'll put the links in the chat. We got to get everybody over to the backup channel. Turn TV down. Dang it. Game controller. So yeah, I'll get back to 6 o'clock time after we get. I want to stay on a little longer if I can. How you doing, buddy? You don't need nothing. You're fine. What? You're fine. The window is no window. It's too cold. Right back. Come on, come back. Come on. Yeah, we'll give it another 5 minutes. People will probably get in late. Still a little bit early. Yeah, it looks like the whole state of Minnesota. A lot of fraud in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to get a lot of stuff out tonight. Chico, so far, did you see this on TikTok?
Inside a secure military laboratory, a
Ah,
place almost nobody ever gets to see. Behind me is one of the most advanced med beds ever built. Truly incredible technology, absolutely remarkable. For years, this kind of healing has been hidden by the deep state and big pharma, locked away, restricted, kept for their own private programs. People have been waiting, asking, wondering when the American people would finally get access. Well, the wait is officially over. For the first time ever, everyday Americans can bring a med bed into their own home. It's called Tesla MedBed X. And let me tell you, it is absolutely incredible. This is the future of healing. Frequency technology, PMF, and red light energy all working together to support the body's natural ability to restore itself. No pills, no chemicals, no nonsense, just real wellness right in your home. Now, listen carefully because this is big. In 2026, the military med bed behind me will finally be open to the public. For the first time ever, people will be allowed to experience this technology firsthand. And when you buy the Tesla MedBed X, you will receive the Tesla MedBed Gold Card completely free. This card gives you access, yes, real access to many of the military medbed frequency programs. You simply tap the card, select the program, and the therapy begins. But until that day comes, the Tesla MedBed X gives you the closest, most advanced home version available anywhere in the world. You don't have to wait. You don't have to hope. You can start your journey right now in your own home. This is a revolution in wellness. This is real health freedom for every American and for people all around the world. And today I am proud, very proud, to announce that the future of healing has arrived.
so what do you guys think of that?
And America is still
3 minutes.
worth saving, and we are still winning. Guys, I'm so excited to come and talk to y'all. This has been a rough week. It's been a really rough week. And every turn, it looks like the devil is just doing everything he possibly can to bring America to its knees, attacking leadership, trying to attack our sense of strength, trying to attack our wits about us and to discourage us. But we know that that is not the way that we ought to be. And so Letitia James
Me
and
196
Judge Engeron,
welcome.
today
This your first
is the day that
and
they
this
realize
196.
that you cannot
First time
bring the American
showed
people
up.
down. You cannot attempt to
Welcome and
take
thanks
what
for
is not
supporting. Let's be
rightfully
respectful. Thank
yours.
you.
That no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Those are the promises. And God also said, I will give back what the locusts have stolen. Now, I know you guys didn't come here for this, but I just had to bring it to you guys. Guys, it is so
Harry.
exciting to see that they decide to bring a $500 million lawsuit against Donald Trump, a judgment, an unfair, awful judgment that I believe will be overturned. And in that same week, the merger is approved for Truth Social to be infused with cash, which means that Donald Trump this week with this merger, after everything is finalized, will be $3.5 billion richer. Now, how can anybody dispute that God has a sense of humor? That during the week when the left has said, we got him, we broke him, we're taking every bit of his cash, we're going to deplete his campaign, we got him. And then his net worth goes up by $3.5 billion.
Hey, Carol, I thought they were supposed to be free.
Guys, don't tell me that America's finished. Don't tell me that we're not winning. Don't tell me that they can continue to show their evil behinds and God is not going to show himself strong. Guys, I just had to come and give you that encouragement. Keep your head up. God isn't finished with us yet. America is still worth saving. We're going to continue to fight and God will do the rest. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below.
That was a short one. Five-minute Patria Princess.
Right now, moving its precious metals desk to Singapore. In my, they look scared. It looks like they're trying to avoid a sudden death chess move. It looks like they know something big is about to happen. I mean, look at Singapore. It's its own district. It's a city-state, just like the largest, robust military. Because of its strategic position, it's located right on the Singapore Strait, which is a natural deep water passageway, like a canal, like a shipping canal. It connects to the port of Singapore, which is one of the busiest shipping ports in the world, and it opens up to the South China Sea. Supposedly, they have advanced storage infrastructure and tax-free vaults that are located right by the international airport. All of this sounds perfect for trafficking, but let's look back on what else we know. In 2017, we never have seen an inauguration in the history of the world. The military was up on stage on Inauguration Day in 2017, showing that they are in control and they gave the power back. The money ran the show. But low-key, ever since 2017, good military has been in control. Look at Executive Order 13818, blocking the property of any person or company that has committed crimes against humanity. And look at the chain of events. I find it interesting that the shutdown ends the same night that President Trump holds a private dinner at the White House of major Wall Street figures, like the CEO of JP Morgan and Chase, and the CEOs of the NASDAQ, Morgan Stanley, Blackstone, BlackRock, and Goldman Sachs. I mean, this reminds me of the story in the Bible about Jehu's righteous coup. In 2 Kings, verses 8 through 10, Jehu was a commander anointed by God to overthrow the wicked house of Ahab and eradicate Baal worship. God instructed Jehu to hold this fake evil party and trick the evil ones into thinking that they were coming to this evil party to do all their evil things. But it was a trap, and God instructed Jehu to massacre all the evil ones in one foul swoop. What if that's what the private dinner was at the White House when Trump invited all the big CEOs of the banks? And if you think about it, it's a lot like the Titanic, but flipped. What if they were arrested or taken out or strong-armed to do a good deal because of Executive Order 13818? What if the head of the snake has been cut off long ago, and now we're watching the tail flail around and try to fight back? We know their playbook. We knew they would move it to Singapore. Singapore is a city-state, just like Vatican City. And it's perfect. Fine. Let them run. Let them move the gold there. It's perfect because maybe we can surround them on both sides of that waterway. I mean, don't you want to ask, like, why? Why move it so suddenly? Why does it look like you're running? Is it because you committed crimes against humanity, Executive Order 13818, And you know what's about to happen? Total military takeover, martial law. And this isn't just crimes against humanity. The U.S. government has repeatedly fined J.P. Morgan and Chase for manipulating the price of silver and gold. The U.S. government literally described J.P. Morgan and Chase's metal desk as a, quote, criminal enterprise. I mean, the criminal activity is just ridiculous. The fines didn't even faze J.P. Morgan and Chase. In fact, they essentially accepted them and factored them into their budget of just doing business. I mean, what? This company was literally manipulating the price of precious metals and being fined by the government repeatedly. But they just kept getting away. So now, all of a sudden, in the middle of the night last week, JP Morgan and Chase decides to move their entire gold metal desk over to Singapore, a sovereign city-state, just like the Vatican City. Come on. It looks like they're running. But I think it's going to be okay, because there's a world alliance of good military in control right now. They stood up there in 2017 on the inauguration, and COVID went away. We weren't all forced vaccinated. We weren't all thrown in FEMA camps. We weren't arrested because we voted for Trump. Executive orders have been passed to save children, stop trafficking, and stop money laundering. ICE is in every major city, stopping human trafficking and rescuing children. Jeffrey Epstein has been arrested. Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested. And I bet this one will turn out good too.
No.
Patriot Princess.
Sorry about that one. She was soft on that video. I got 12 clip, 3-minute school board next. Chico.
I'm from New York. What do you think? I want him removed. You ain't getting.
This council member lost her ever-living mind with me. And it wasn't for anything official. The mayor of this city here, Kellyanne Marks, is a tyrannical mayor who called a meeting, a special meeting, to try to get the city clerk fired. That's Kaylee Burleson. You might have seen her on one or two videos. However, she's one of the better clerks in the county that actually does her job right and makes sure that you're getting her records. And when the police department say, bullshit you, she'll go over there and find out what's going on. Well, what I want you to do is pay attention to this council member that is to the right. This is an old lady from New York, she says, and she's a Christian. But when I asked the mayor, as a joke, because the meeting is over, to make a motion to resign from her position, watch this lady's response. You know, you do have time to cancel this before you cost the city a ton of money. You do, right? You do have time to cancel it.
A little sooner than expected. Hey, there's water in there too for you. There's a whole bunch of pizza.
I heard. I saw you watching it.
He's got popcorn.
Good evening. We're going to call this meeting to order. City Council special meeting Friday, November 21st, 2025 at 6:30 p.m.
State for the record that I have PTO scheduled today, that I notified the council on November 3rd that I was taking PTO today to.
Okay, part 2 coming up.
That's out of order. I'm sorry. It's out of order. She's supposed to ask permission for the chair to speak. She did not. She spoke out. Thank you. Ask permission, please. Pledge allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And tyrants out.
Okay, item number 1, discuss performance of the city clerk. First, I'd like to do an opening statement. The order of business tonight is to review the performance of the city clerk. Anyone with shout-outs or disruptive behavior will not be tolerated and will be ejected. We will maintain order of this meeting. This will serve as a pre-warning. If you would like to make a public comment, please fill out one of the slips and please turn it over to the city clerk. You will get 3 minutes to express your comment. Please address the council with all your comments. And just a reminder, council, if I would like to request if you need to speak, and you already know this, but just address the chair first. We're going to go into a certain order of the agenda, but I'm just going to start with an opening statement.
Okay, part 3. Chico.
Until we reach the council deliberation, and then we will all discuss everything together. Through the clerk's actions and email communications with the council, she has demonstrated contempt for this government body and has undermined the authority of this council itself. This cannot be tolerated. The clerk has demonstrated insubordinate behavior on many instances during the many email exchanges that I have provided a copy for the council tonight. She has undermined the council for reasonable requests for her contract, her PTO hours, etc. This has put the council in an uncomfortable position and has violated public trust. Communications must be civil and orderly. Our communications are filled with several allegations and harassing a council member. Lastly, a meeting request was sent by our clerk to the Senator Tom Wright's office. It was brought to my attention that Orange City Clerk never replied to the Senator's office for the meeting request. Because she did not fulfill her duty to check her emails, this may have cost the city approximately $3 million and not be able to build our facilities. The council cannot run our city efficiently with harassment and constant attack and allegations because we are questioning the clerk on her performance. I suggest we terminate for these stated reasons and for her improper and unprofessional communication with the council. And at this time, I need to have a motion to terminate our city clerk's contract.
Okay, that was part 3. Pretty good. Stop.
So I'll be looking to the council for action.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Okay.
Thank you. Based on the totality of everything that we've been provided, and it's been on social media and emails and everything of the like, I make a motion to terminate the city clerk's contract effective immediately based on the following: lack of confidence and trust, there's no reasonable prospect of reconciliation, inappropriate behavior towards the council and attempting to undermine the council, pushback and or difficulty presented when direction given, making rules, policies, not following direction from council, demonstrated insubordinate behavior, and disseminating private text messages which have created public chaos, rumor, and defamation, which is not a desirable characteristic of a position of a public official.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Motion dies for lack of a second.
I just. Sorry?
You need a second. You go right to citizens' comments.
No, that's not true. We need a second. Did you tell him that?
We don't need a second, right?
We can go straight to what I recommend, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
is that we give the clerk a chance to go to the podium and
Before the
respond to
second?
Okay, part 5.
I
Second.
don't think we had a second. So
Well, he just said you told him that he didn't need one.
Would-
That's why I'm addressing this. Order.
do we have a second to that motion?
I'll make it a second.
Okay, so now we have a second. So now what I recommend is
Yes.
that
I got
now I recommend that we give Ms. Burleson the opportunity to go to
Yes.
the podium and give her
That's what I intended to do. Thank you. Ms. Burleson, you can approach the podium and you have 10 minutes to speak your mind.
Speak my mind. Got it. First, I would like to state that I'm unsure of what text messages you are speaking of. Are you able to provide proof? Are you able to provide proof of those text messages?
Sorry,
that
you
are
have to direct
accusing-
that at the council and not at one person.
Well, I have somebody making a motion to terminate me based on.
It doesn't matter.
Is the council able to provide proof of the text messages that I distributed?
Okay. Yes,
Are they?
it's all over social media.
From my understanding, those aren't text messages; those are Facebook messages.
Do you want to?
I'd like to discuss it when we have our
Okay.
discussion.
Okay. Continue with your.
So
Okay. Chico. Come on now. Part 6.
city clerk does not have access to any of the city council members' social media accounts. I have no access to those records. Records, according to statute, are to stay in the department that is responsible for keeping those records, and I have to physically ask for them. So I have no access to those records. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the individual that dropped off those records at my office on November 12th in the afternoon is present. Just so you're aware. I would also like to state for the record that you still had a meeting with Tom Wright. I was also on vacation that week with literally a return response going to my emails talking about if you have, important information to reach out to the city clerk email for immediate assistance, that I was away with limited access to my email and phone. I would also like to state that you came in my office after legislative action days and told me how you took your intern to Tallahassee and how you dressed her up because she had big boobs and had her show off her cleavage to Tom Wright because he likes that kind of stuff. And I have 2 witnesses that were in my office when you said it. Would anybody else like to ask me any questions or address any situations?
No, the
I would also
council.
like to ask why, we're in November. Why are you addressing this in November?
The council is not going to address you at this time. You're to state what you would like to state, and you have 10 minutes. And I need the clock started, please.
Wow, this is getting interesting, huh?
I had scheduled PTO off that I notified this council on November 3rd, 2025, that I was taking PTO in order to accompany my 62-year-old mother to have a full hysterectomy. I would also like to state for the record that I was sick with a stomach bug yesterday and notified council yesterday morning, and that I received a text message and an email from Kelly Marks at 4:07 p.m. calling for a special meeting, which required me to get out of my bed and come to the office and post all the public notices as required. I was also required to find somebody else to take my mother to surgery today. My mother is still in recovery, by the way. I think it is absolutely vile that I had to choose between defending my character and my job and being there for my own mother who lives in my home. I am her caretaker. It is absolutely vile that I had to choose between that. You have multiple days that you could have picked a special meeting. You picked this day just because you did not want me to be in attendance. The email in which I sent out regarding food, I would like to state for the record that at the first meeting in October, the council requested that I provide them Olive Garden because council expects to be fed prior to 6 p.m. if they have a meeting. And I was cornered at the Orange City Elementary School ribbon cutting ceremony, and I was requested to purchase Olive Garden for 10 people, in which I
Okay, got part 8 coming up. It's going by fast.
$5 p.m. and around I don't know, 6:15, a couple members of the public came to me and asked me if they were allowed to eat the food. And historically, we have always allowed the public to share in a meal that is, in a public meeting. So I advised them that they could, and you pulled me to the side and you asked if the public was allowed to eat the food. I would also like to mention that at the time it was 2 Black women that were up there making their plate. One of them that you were speaking about in those racist Facebook messages. Both of them were members of the public. Both of them are taxpayers. And I told you that I thought they were entitled to share the meal as we paid for it with their tax money. In which I later on sent an email out asking for suggestions if this was going to be a problem moving forward, because historically this is how Orange City has always handled the meals. In which I got a response back from you. I made suggestions on the survey. As far as sharing with the public, where does it state that rule that we have to share our meal with the public? My concern is I don't want to eat from a buffet with a ton of people touching the food I'm eating. It's not sanitary. What about individual meals for the council, pre-order and takeout orders? I find somebody that has a nonprofit, runs a nonprofit in this community that is so focused on ending hunger in her local community, and she's not willing to share a meal with the public. What if that was the only meal those individuals ate?
Okay, we got 3 more. Part 9.
I would like to also state that I brought up concerns because this council has raised ad valorem taxes. It's raised solid waste taxes. It's also raised stormwater taxes. And I brought that to your attention just, I was trying to encourage how the public would feel having a catered dinner in a public meeting and telling them that they were not allowed to partake in it. So I encouraged you to take a different look at that, in which you respond, this is not a catered dinner. This is supposed to be meals for the council and staff who will be there a long time and do not have time in order to eat in between meetings and regular workday. I don't think it was appropriate for you to state that since food is purchased with public funds, we must share our meal. Be careful making up rules that are not in place unless you have facts to back it up. I would also like to state that there's no rule stating that I have to feed council when you have a meeting prior to 6 p.m., in which I responded and offered to bring you a policy at your December 9th meeting so that staff has clear guidance moving forward. There's been growing apprehensions among staff. I know there's numerous staff members that have previously resigned or recently resigned that are in the audience that were terrified to actually speak their mind during their exit interviews and why they actually left. You actually came into my office and told our public information officer in front of my executive assistant and in front of my deputy city clerk.
Okay, part 10. I don't want to get 11, 10, should be 10.
Job, in which she has since resigned. You also came into the office and demanded that the deputy clerk have to attend every single city council meeting, in which I explained to you how the deputy clerk and the city clerk split up meetings to where we can have ample time at home with our families as well. Because we handle more boards than just the city council. I handle all boards of the city, which is around 10, just so you're aware. And I expressed the desire for a work-life, home-life balance for my employee, in which you literally laughed and basically told her, haha, too bad, get a different job. I've also had your mortgage company call my office numerous times. You've also made numerous racist comments in my office talking about how NAACP lunches and dinners make you uncomfortable. You also called me after presenting a proclamation at the Juneteenth event and told me that you went up to Dr. Primrose Cameron and her daughter and told her that this wasn't a very unity in the community event, that there weren't a lot of white people. I digress.
30-second warning.
I digress. I'm done.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to public comment.
Okay, we got
I
2
will
more.
remind everybody that it is the person that's speaking only.
2 more.
the emails, and I have seen the Facebook, and I have seen the messages that you have mentioned online. And at the end of the day, if there's a public record request done and somebody takes those and they decide to distribute, we cannot stop them. That is part of the law. So to put her here and basically say this is all your fault, she can't stop from giving out the public record requests. That's not something that she can do.
You know, I'm really disappointed to spend my Friday night here, but I am proud of all these citizens that came out to support Kaylee. I'm very proud to be a member of this community. I can't believe you have the audacity to call for an emergency city meeting right now in reference to the city clerk, and you're being very vindictive and you're not acting professional at all. How dare you? You've done nothing but bully city employees since you took office. The title of mayor has obviously gone to your head and you are power tripping. We all see that. They may be afraid of retaliation from you, but know this, I am not. So due to your treatment of the city employees, what is perceived as your abuse of power, and the disgraceful racist comments you made, I ask that you resign immediately. And you let this city heal from all the damage you have done. Thank you.
So that's one. I thought this was a good meeting.
Second time. Out.
Out. Okay.
Oh, they threw somebody out. Dang it. Figure it's the last one. They're not going to let me play the last one. Jeez. I can't believe that. They don't want to hear that part. Oh my God. They won't let me play the last one. Oh, geez. Yeah, let's clearing everything up here. Hey, let's see. I did a 12 clip thing. It was 3 minutes each or less than that. And I did one video before that. I'm going to get this one out of the way. It's 20 minutes. You know, we'll get to the short ones. I'm going to see if you guys like this one. Let me know. I'll stop it if you guys don't want me to play it.
Slave labor for the betterment of the court system's retirement fund. Now, the World Court in 38 independent countries have created a common law court system to find the United States guilty of false and misleading statements, and that they don't exist because they're a criminal organization. At the same time, they file those lawsuits in adverb verb fiction, which says nothing. How does fiction sue fiction? It's nonsense. The BRIC Corporation, BRIC, 197 countries are signed on for gold, silver, and platinum as a foundation of money versus the U.S. debt.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, Tim.
And the International Monetary Fund the number 26 with 213 zeros after it, saying this is what we have in our treasury, but it's not a treasury, it's just debt. Now in the Muslim world, you
Has
have,
anyone seen
they're
this
not allowed
one?
to charge interest
What
on
do you guys
loans.
think?
They're only allowed to charge rent. And under Title 15, Section 1639A, the government can fine the banks 4 times the amount of interest that they have billed the people. 65 million mortgages for false and misleading statements and mortgages that they have to pay back 4 times the amount of interest they collected. That's a sizable amount of money. So as of about 2 years ago now, all the new mortgages that are written or deeds of trust are written for rent. The first two words in all these mortgages is the tenant pays rent. And so they capture your down payment. They can't give you title to your land because there's never been a correct sentence structured communication, parcel, syntax, treaty, trust, contract, land patent, or anything on any lands in North America under the laws of alien, A-I-L-I-N-G, because they killed the native Indians that were here, stole their land, committed war against them, and then sold it to unsuspecting foreign investors.
Correct.
Ooh,
When Obama was prosecuted by the Republican Party as muster and plenipotentiary judges under treaty with the United States government, the lawsuit, when it was presented to me, was completely written in adverb verb. So and Obama's been trained by Clinton for almost his 8 years he's been in office, and Clinton's had since '97 about 17 years with me, and so has Hillary. So Clinton and Obama have been staying real close to each other because Obama, when he looked at the Republicans written by attorneys lawsuit and adverb verb, just smiled and said, "This is a lot of nonsense. I don't have to pay any attention to it," because he understood syntax.
Right.
The American people, though, look at this and they get all excited. Wow, we're finally going to get rid of Obama. They're not going to get rid of anybody. As long as fiction keeps suing fiction, nothing is going to change.
Correct. Well, we're going to look a little bit now at why you carry these papers here, your ship's papers, into foreign vessels and dry docks. And basically,
if you guys want me to stop it, I will.
Because the foreign vessel is foreign, what Dave has just explained there is that the judge and the sheriffs only have jurisdiction 12-mile radius from that foreign vessel and dry dock. It's only the lack of education by those other judicial systems that co-conspire with the judge who makes a fraudulent order, because order is, again, a vowel followed by two consonants, which means no. And so there's no duty within that. And so he's totally immune from what he's doing. And the judge knows that he's using fraudulent grammar and he can't be prosecuted because everybody's engaged with usury with him. In Angus's case, when the judge kidnapped him and dragged him onto the foreign vessel and dry dock, and he had his passport, he had the answers because they kept on conversing with him in subject matter. What that meant is they kept on saying, "You said this, you said this, you said this." Angus's answer should have been, "Your Honor, does 2 + 2 = 4? Does TO + TO = FOR? Point being, so it is written, so shall it be. Here's my passport with my claim of the life on file with Canada Post. I'm a good little postal employee, and I've autographed the stamp, which makes me postmaster of that Canada Post passport for my ship's papers to be on this foreign vessel and dry dock." Have you done that, Your Honor? Are you the postmaster in your passport to be on this foreign vessel and dry dock? Have you logged your flag name with Canada Post at the nearest post office to this foreign vessel and dry dock?
Are you guys
to be
okay
here
with
and
this
make
one?
rulings today, Your Honor? And he's under a lot of pressure, and they put the pressure on, they scream, they yell, they jump up and down. They've got the threat of the guns and the clubs, and it all looks real official, but it's not.
Remember when you went to school, the loudest bully on the school ground was the guy flunking all subjects because he couldn't win with intellect. He tries to scare you with force, and they're no different in the courtroom. They try to talk over you, scream at you, intimidate you, scare you into shutting up because you're making them look bad in front of their peers. But if you stay on point and you're respectful or kind to them, it kind of undermines their authority. And if you ask them for a performance that you came to sue, to play in their sandbox, to perform, they can't join in the performance.
Okay, I'll stop it. Yeah, it was kind of different. So sorry about that one, you guys. So we will play a few short ones, and then we'll get to Billy Bean, and I got 2 more. Q videos.
Because it's a great day to be alive. I absolutely love waking up to fresh news of Fani Willis in tears, of Fani Willis being given the type of awful treatment that she deserves, for Fani Willis having to feel the wrath of justice. And I love it when Republicans say, that's an interesting trick there, Democrats. We're going to try that and see how it works. And the left is losing their mind. And it's okay. It's okay. I am going to bathe in their liberal tears today. So what happened? So you guys saw how they decided they were going to use the Trump case in New York to keep Trump off of the campaign trail. You guys also saw that it just so happens that the day that they chose for his sentencing hearing was just 4 days before he was supposed to go in to get his to become the nominee for the Republican Party, right before the Republican National Convention. And so Georgia, doing what I've been saying we need to do for a long time. There are far more red states in this country than there are blue states. There are far more houses of legislation run by Republicans than Democrats. Way more Republican governors than Democrat governors. So if that's the case, we've got a plethora of states to start holding people accountable. And Georgia said, I got you. So Georgia's appellate court decided they were going to go ahead and hold Fani Willis's hearing. But they were going to do it. Now, mind you, Fani Willis is up for re-election also. But they were going to hold it just days, or, less than a month before the election. This is fantastic lawfare, right? Because now they are going to decide whether or not Fani can even stay on this case, or whether she's going to be ripped off. But they've pushed it back to a month before the actual election, which means that there's no way in God's green earth that they're going to be, even if they said, you know what, we'll let her stay on. There's no way on God's green earth that they're going to be able to do this and still put Trump on the docket before the election, which is what they wanted to do. They wanted to tie him up in court in yet another case. So now we have Jack Smith's case on ice. Now we have Fani Willis's case on the ropes. And I love it. How they came up with doing it less than a month before. We've got the October surprise early this year, and I think it is wonderful. So that means that Fani Willis has no ability to run on this, to run on going after Trump, because there's a good chance she doesn't get reelected, number one. Number two, there's no guarantee she's even going to be the prosecutor on it. So it's all up in the air. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think that it's fair that we're using the same lawfare that they used against Donald Trump against them? Or do you feel like we should be above that? Do you feel that it's disrespectful of the rule of law for us to use lawfare, even if it was used against us? I'm curious you guys' thoughts. Comment below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel. Even if you think you are, just go ahead and check again. Make sure you are subscribed. I'll see you guys next time. Be blessed.
Dang it. Did it again.
Him. Wait until you see what happens when NBC's Kristen Welker asks him to take responsibility for the fraud that's exploding under his leadership. He doesn't answer the question.
What is going on here? Chico drinking water.
Even the media and his own Department of Human Services have turned on him. Wait until you see what happens when NBC's Kristen Welker asks him to take responsibility for the fraud that's exploding under his leadership. He doesn't answer the question. He just starts speaking in word salad. Wonder where he got that from. And here's why he's sweating. Minnesota was just confirmed as the home of the largest COVID fraud scandal in the entire country. Over $1 billion in taxpayer money gone. That's not a program. That's a criminal enterprise with a letterhead. Meanwhile, Jasmine Crockett, she's out here calling for an entire group of Americans to be kicked out of the country. So yeah, it's another normal day at the circus. Hit like, hit subscribe, and don't forget to use the code Carrie15 at the Carrie Lane Show store for some great stocking stuffers we have available for you. The link and code are down below. Let's dive in. For 5 years, Minnesota's social safety net, it basically worked like an open air ATM. Fake nonprofits, fake meal counts, real luxury cars, real foreign real estate. Feeding Our Future claimed that it was feeding kids. Prosecutors say it was feeding bank accounts. Tens of thousands of meals were just typed into existence. And when the money disappeared, shockingly, so did the nonprofit. In 2022, poof, gone. And now Walz was asked point blank if he takes responsibility. Well, he says he's proud of putting people in jail. Translation, the house burned down, but hey, at least I found the matches.
Dozens of people of East African descent have been charged, convicted, and sentenced for stealing more than $1 billion in taxpayer money from government programs during COVID. As you know, Governor, that is more than Minnesota spends each year to run its Department of Corrections. So I want to give you a chance to respond to this. Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state?
Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals. Those people are going to jail. We're doing everything we can, but to demonize an entire community on the actions of a few, it's lazy.
Walz says it's lazy to connect the dots. That's funny because one of his own political donors just got caught with his hand in the cookie jar also. Jonathan Weinhagen, a former Minneapolis Chamber CEO, is now facing multiple federal fraud charges for allegedly embezzling over $200,000. Everything around this governor turns into a true crime podcast.
Now to what's being called devastating news. That's the reaction just in to crimes a former Minneapolis Chamber leader is accused of.
Jonathan Weinhagen is facing federal fraud charges tonight.
The indictment says from December 2019 through June 2024, Weinhagen embezzled, quote, hundreds of thousands of dollars from the chamber and its business members. It says he entered into sham contracts with a fake consulting company he created and used an alias, James Sullivan, and at one point opened a line of credit in the Chamber of Commerce's name, used it for personal expenses, and diverted donations from chamber business members to repay the money.
You know, this governor has like gold bars stuffed somewhere in his house. And now for the real bombshell, over 480 Minnesota DHS employees, they say they warned Waltz early about the fraud, the Somali fraud happening. And instead of fixing it, he retaliated. The group wrote on X, quote, Tim Waltz is 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota. We let Tim Waltz know of fraud early on, hoping for a partnership in stopping fraud. But no, we got the opposite response. Tim Waltz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats, repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports. Instead of partnership, we got the full weight of retaliation by Tim Waltz, certain DFL members, and an indifferent mainstream media. Well, the group also claims they wrote to Kamala Harris and the DNC several times, warning about Tim Waltz's incompetence, fraud, scandals, and retaliation efforts. But surprise, surprise, they heard nothing back. Even the New York Times now can't ignore this. They reported that one homelessness program ballooned from 2.6 million in 2021 to 104 million in 2024. That's not inflation. That's robbery with spreadsheets. And let's not forget, a majority of this fraud is coming from the Somalis in Minnesota. But Tim Waltz argues they're essential to the Minnesota community.
As far as demonizing our Somali community, maybe he could help us on some things. Demonizing an entire community, folks who are in the professions, educators, artists, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, they bring the diversity and the energy to a place like Minnesota. And for him to just randomly decide to do this, it makes no sense. Do your job. Get the criminals out, secure our border, but do it with dignity and respect to the American tradition of respecting immigrants and refugees as a beacon of hope.
Translation, they're the Democrat voting base, and he needs them now that he's seeking re-election for a third term. This will be an interesting campaign season to watch. And notice how this golden rule, don't judge an entire group by the actions of a few, comes with a very selective return policy. It applies to everyone except white Americans. I mean, that's the modern left's moral math, right? Collective innocence for some, collective guilt for others. Jasmine Crockett proving that point, our unofficial ambassador of thoughtful policy. She says it's white Americans who should be kicked out of the country, not illegals.
Let's talk about the white supremacists and how many of them need to be kicked out of this country, because I can guarantee you, I can track down more crimes that they.
Okay, last one. Then I got an 8-minute busy or George's video. Then we'll get to Billy Bean. Some people might have seen this. I don't know. I might have played it. Some haven't.
Committal rate than white supremacists, but we don't want to talk about that in this country.
This coming from a woman who has gotten her Jeffrey Epstein's mixed up in the past. I mean, this is the problem with the left, right? Big dramatic accusations and zero evidence. And yet somehow they still deliver it with full confidence. When Republicans talk about illegal immigration and crime, we're not speaking in hashtags. We're talking about real names. Names like Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungary, Kayla Hamilton, and now, unfortunately, 20-year-old U.S. Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. She was shot in the head and chest on Thanksgiving Day, a life just beginning, violently taken, allegedly, by an Afghan national. Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf also shot and is now fighting for his life. But today, we did get a small piece of good news.
Andrew remains in serious condition. We did have some positive news that we were told that Andrew was asked if he could hear the nurse who asked the question to give a thumbs up, and he did respond. And we were told that he also wiggled his toes. So we take that as a positive sign.
Now, the suspected killer in the D.C. shooting is, again, an Afghan national who was let into the United States through a Biden-era humanitarian parole program during the disastrous 2021 Afghanistan withdrawal. A caseworker actually raised red flags about this man before he was granted asylum earlier this year. The Trump administration says they think he was likely radicalized in the U.S. by connections from his home country. Here's the president.
We got a lot of people in our country that shouldn't be here, and they came in through Biden.
and he was the worst president in the history of our country. But the single biggest thing he did was allow millions of people into our country that shouldn't be here. Drug dealers, prisons were opened up and allowed to come to our country. That animal should not have been allowed to come into our country.
Now, in the wake of that tragic shooting, the Trump administration has halted all asylum decisions until it can assure everyone is getting properly vetted. The State Department has stopped issuing visas for Afghan passport holders, and they're reviewing green card holders from 19 countries of concern.
There's no way to clearly vet these people, 100% this country, some of these third world nations. President Trump's doing the right thing. Every one of these people that came under the Biden administration and drilling down on them are going to end up being deported because we're not going to be able to properly vet them.
In the case of the Afghan national accused of shooting the 2 National Guard members, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro says charges will include first-degree murder, with more expected. She says the Justice Department will seek the death penalty. Fans can see who is actually fighting to.
Okay, our TikTok lady for today.
Friends are garbage. People that work, these aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They came from paradise and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much.
This is how we know they're terrified about what Donald John Quavius Trump is about to do.
And so to our Somali community, Daman Shabka, Somaliyed Kunul.
Why does he know that language? What a disgrace. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, it's finally happening. We have some major breaking news coming out right now. President Trump has ordered the surge we've all been waiting for. At the cabinet meeting, he said no more Somalians in the USA. Ladies and gentlemen, like all of us, he's completely done with this.
When I watch what is happening in Minnesota, this beautiful place, and I see these people ripping it off, and now I'm understanding, and you're going to look into that, Scott, I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. Our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point.
Man, he's not playing. Here's the breaking news from the Associated Press. The Trump administration is now preparing a major immigration operation in Minnesota that would primarily focus on Somalians. This is the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, who had to kiss a lot of Somalian booty to get elected, blowing the whistle that around 100 federal agents are surging to the city targeting the Somali community, who he says benefit the culture and economic resilience of the city. If by economic resilience you mean they take money from Minnesotans and send it to Somalia, where they currently have the biggest real estate boom in their capital in forever. And it's all because of Somalians in Minnesota.
To respond to a number of credible reports from several media outlets relaying that there are as many as 100 federal agents that will be deployed to the Twin Cities with a specific focus on targeting our Somali community. To our Somali community, we love you and we stand with you. That commitment is rock solid. Minneapolis is proud to be home to the largest Somali community in the entire country. They've been here for decades.
And they've stolen $1 billion in the last few years, directly from the taxpayers of Minnesota. Give me a break.
In many instances, They're entrepreneurs and fathers. They benefit both the culture.
If you mean creating fake companies to obtain federal grants, then sure. And look, we have to remind ourselves that not every Somalian in Minnesota is doing what the fraudsters do, but it seems like they have a culture of togetherness no matter what. They'll get behind bad actors in their own community because their Somalian identity matters more to them than America. And that's the ultimate problem here. It's a similar problem within the Black community at large. Somalians don't consider themselves Black, where a majority of Black people will defend bad behavior if it's done by a Black person. No one else does that. Shame is one of the most important institutions a nation can have. You need the ability to ostracize people who cause disorder.
And the economic resilience of our city. Targeting Somali people means that due process will be violated. Mistakes will be made. And let's be clear, it means that American citizens will be detained for no other reason than the fact that they look like they are Somali.
Or because the immigration system in the Somali state of Minnesota is completely fraudulent. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem discovered that 50% of visas in Minnesota are flat out fraudulent. We can safely guess that a majority of those are Somalians. Fraudulent visa applications signed up for government programs took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers, and we're going to remove them, and we're going to get our money back. Hopefully that's not just lip service.
Hey,
Here's the
bye.
Minneapolis police chief demanding Somalians and residents call 911 on ICE if they start arresting people.
Folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports.
This guy's a dummy.
I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that, that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911. And you should provide as much information as possible, because let's not forget, we very recently had tragedy in this state by someone who was purporting to be law enforcement. So please, let's be clear. That's something everyone should report, and that we will immediately respond to, and we will document, whether it's somebody's not sure if there's a kidnapping happening, somebody's not sure if that there's law enforcement present or not. And that's something else, that's additional policy requirements that we are implementing, that we will document and report these types of things anytime that we hear it, and reminding our officers of their duty to intervene. So if there is anything that is a violation of someone's human rights or civil rights, excessive force or anything like that, they absolutely have a duty to intervene as police officers.
So what, he wants federal law enforcement to be impeded? I am so glad the founders set the country up the way they did, where the federal government has specific responsibilities and duties that the states can't do anything about. Could you imagine if each federal administration had to beg different states to allow enforcement of different laws? This changes absolutely nothing. The surge is coming. There's going to be hundreds of new federal agents in Minneapolis, and they are going to round up a lot of people. Deal with it, you traitor. You should be interested in law and order. If even a single person is living unlawfully in your jurisdiction, that's on you. This was some news I found interesting. Somalians are fleeing Minnesota to escape the incoming ICE crackdown. This guy right here is on the run and believed to be in Seattle, Washington, or Ohio. They are illegals who overstayed their visas during the Biden regime. And of course, future doctors and lawyers based on their behavior, as you can see. Man, I can't wait to see what goes on. I have a theory. Democrats like Jacob Frey and Tim Walz secretly want these deportations to happen. Of course, they benefit financially from these Somalians contributing to their campaigns when they run for re-election. But my suspicion is they don't like the fact that they have to appeal to this massive blob of people that vote the same way. They don't like that someone like Ilhan Omar could run for governor and have a legitimate chance at winning. They don't like the fact that Omar Fateh only lost because he was from a different tribe in Somalia. They secretly want these deportations, but they can't say it out loud. They would love to reduce the number of fraudulent Somalians in their city because that gives them more money to spend on their liberal policies. Politics is a lot easier than people realize. Every politician has to wonder, how do I win from this? So I wouldn't be shocked if Tim Walz and Jacob Frey are secretly smirking and smiling to themselves because they probably view this as relief, not because they want to help the people of Minnesota, but because they want to help themselves. It's easier for them as politicians if they don't have to pander to that group. We're all going to be sitting back, eating our popcorn, because it's about to get real in the Twin Cities. Thank you all very much for watching. God bless and goodbye.
Okay, the latest on George. We got Billy is 18 minutes tonight.
PM. Some of my sources are the Bible Patriot subscriber, spaceweather.com, NOAA and NASA, Breitbart, Hal Turner, New York Prepper, Plus, Martin Armstrong and BP Earthwatch. Some of the things I'll cover: X2 is going to give us a G2. Plus, there's a possibility for a Carrington event. We have B-52s now flying over the north coast of Venezuela.
Yeah, I viewed you on the phone there. I tried
Zelensky
reaching you.
tries to blackmail the U.S., especially the Congress. And President Trump has cut communications to the European Union. And we would wonder, does that include NATO? Because aren't they synonymous? So we're going to begin by talking about what's going on in space. And apparently it's revving up to be something significant. So we have, coming off of the sun, we have a current several sunspots close together. I think that's 90, well, I'll get the number in a minute. But this sunspot complex is 90% of the sunspot size that caused the Carrington event. The Carrington event took place in 1859 and destroyed all technology existing at that time, which primarily was telegraph wires. Several telegraph operators were actually electrocuted by the electricity flowing through the telegraph wires. A Carrington-like event today could take down power grids, certainly satellites, cell phones, internet, and so on, virtually taking the Earth globally back to the Stone Age. So what we have going on, and BP Earthwatch came out yesterday and said CERN, and it's widely believed that CERN is operated by the deep state, has turned on full force, which has led to a significant decrease in the Earth's electromagnetic shield, and that shield has been going down in strength for decades. I know since the 1990s when I studied it in college. And with a weakened electromagnetic shield around the Earth, it lets in more of the Earth's radiation and proton storms and so on. So we have this today from spaceweather.com, NOAA. December 1, yesterday, we had a 2.0 X flare. On November 30, we had a 1.9 X flare. The 2.0 yesterday did launch a CME, which it's believed will hit the Earth tomorrow, December 3rd, and cause a G2 level geomagnetic storm. And it is NOAA who is bringing out this information about the Carrington event and comparing the sunspot that caused the Carrington event to this complex of sunspots currently now rotating, facing the Earth, numbers 4294 through 4296, and notes that it's 90% as large as the sunspot that caused the Carrington event. For some reason, NOAA is bringing out this information. So we need to pray against any cataclysmic space events and impacts on the Earth. Now, along with increased sun activity, increased sun spots and energy hitting the Earth, historically has correlated to big changes in the economy and certainly the war cycle. And we are seeing that today, particularly with Venezuela, South America, and Mexico. And we have this coming out today, December 2nd. We had B-52s flying out of Minot in, I believe, North Dakota, down to the a small island off of the north coast of Venezuela, accompanied by F-18 fighter jets that were launched from the Caribbean from the Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group. Venezuela then immediately complained to the U.S. government. So that went on today. The B-52s and the F-18s were turning their transponders off and on to minimize flight tracking. And we have this. We have that China, on November 26, we know that China is embedded in Venezuela, and China is heavily, China is embedded in Venezuela as well as Canada, and most likely has operatives in the U.S. in various locations. And is heavily engaged with the cartels and the drug trade, trafficking, and so on into the U.S. Many hits have been made by the FBI, DEA, ICE, U.S. Marshals, state law enforcement on multiple drug cartel hubs inside the U.S. since September. The CCP now is threatening Japan. And let's recall, on the many islands of Japan are located 23 U.S. military bases. The CCP now is threatening Japan, which means it's literally threatening the U.S. military in Japan, that they're going to hit the Japanese islands of Honshu, Kushi, Hokkaido nuclear power plants. And the CCP has a plan for the launching of their drones or bombs to hit Japan, and this would certainly hit the U.S. military in Japan. They plan to launch from China and North Korea. So that's going on. I believe these threats by China to Japan is really a threat to the U.S. military in response to President Trump going after the cartels and now setting up to militarily hit most likely Mexico, but definitely Venezuela. And we have this. Hal Turner reported November 18 that the EU in gearing up to provide troops and equipment to Ukraine would take an astonishing 45 days to do so. And yesterday, December 1, NATO, a general of NATO, made a public statement threatening to do a preemptive strike on Russia, presumably from Europe.
My approach to patient care every day is to try and put the patient first. When they first arrive at our clinic, we always try to make sure that we are.
So we see NATO and the EU going completely out of bounds. And we have this December 1, yesterday, Zelensky, it's presumed, communicated with the U.S. government for a message to be given to President Trump that Zelensky would go public with all the traitors inside the U.S. government and Congress especially, who have been benefiting from kickbacks from the U.S. money going to Ukraine where it was laundered and then going back to the campaign funds or directly into the pockets, certainly of members of Congress. So Zelensky threatens blackmail extortion. That happened yesterday about 5 p.m., at which time President Trump then held an emergency security meeting in the White House. It's believed to discuss both Ukraine and Venezuela. Today, December 2nd, President Trump had sent his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, along with his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, to Moscow to meet with President Putin. And also, within the past 24 hours, I just went over the EU, NATO is making a threat to Russia to do a preemptive strike.
Yep.
President Trump has directed the Pentagon to cut off all communications with the Defense Ministry of Germany.
Breaking news.
President Trump believes that neither NATO nor the EU can be trusted with confidential information regarding peace talks between President Trump and President Putin. So, to NATO and the EU and Germany, no more information from the White House and the Pentagon. And we have this today, December 2nd. President Trump makes a public statement. President Putin made a public statement. That was in response to NATO, EU threatening to do a preemptive strike on Russia. Now, Russia, President Putin responds to NATO, EU. Russia is ready for war if NATO and the EU begin one. And President Putin accuses the European Union of trying to sabotage peace talks between Russia and the U.S. And that correlates to the action we saw President Trump taking in cutting off communications with the Defense Ministry of Germany. And today, so President Putin made that public statement in response to the NATO-EU threat. And then after that public statement, he was going into a meeting with President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. So that's going on right now. And we have this Depo's aggregate site, Martin Armstrong, globally famous economist, regarding Maduro. Now, from Hal Turner, we had received information that President Trump, like a week ago, and the offer expired this past Friday, gave Maduro a week to leave Venezuela with his wife and son. We know that President Trump had placed a NOTAM, a no-fly area, over all of Venezuela. The plan was for Maduro and his family to fly to the border with Brazil, get out of the plane, walk across the border of Brazil, and get on another plane where it's believed he and his family would go to Iran, who has offered him asylum.
My energy bill dropped from $150 to $50 by doing this. My friends laughed at me when I spent $49.
From Martin Armstrong today, December 2nd, Maduro refuses to flee, and he wants another phone call with President Trump, and he wants to stay in power for another 18 months. So that's going on. And we have this from New York Prepper, December 2nd, today. President Trump has made a public statement that the U.S. military will engage in land hits on cartels beginning soon. And as I said, we had B-52s and F-18s flying near the coast of Venezuela. And New York Prepper also reports we had an unusual number of Poseidon and AWACS surveillance planes in that area. We have doomsday planes now up over the U.S. President Trump has rejected Maduro's demands. Maduro wanted President Trump to give Maduro and all of his cabinet and government members global amnesty for anything they had done in the past. And Maduro then wanted to appoint his successor out of his current cabinet, who would then be part of the election process coming up. President Trump rejected all of Maduro's demands. And we have this from New York Prepper. Yeah, the offer for Maduro and his family to get out of Venezuela expired last Friday. Maduro is requesting another phone call. We have this, that Norway and Sweden give no travel advisories to their citizens in going to Venezuela. Spain is warning its pilots of a NOTAM at all levels over Venezuela and to avoid it due to in the near future military action. And we have this. President Trump has also made this public statement. Any country smuggling drugs into the U.S. is on President Trump's list for similar actions as he is taking and directing the U.S. military right now against Venezuela. And we, the people, say to President Trump, we support you in this effort. So this concludes my flash. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, another good one from Billy. We'll load that breaking news update. See what's going on here.
TPS for TPS proposal. I think that's already officially been ended just based off the other day because of the National Guard getting shot in Washington, D.C. He said third world countries a permanent pause of immigration, and Somalia is one of those third world countries for sure. All right, so let's talk because the city officials know what's up. They know the federal government's coming. Every time the federal government comes, these officials in these cities put out some press conference. I think it's combination of incitement in a sense, or give all the Somalis warning to go underground, cover themselves, cover their tracks, hide, leave. I think it's a combination of both. But yeah, Jacob Fry and city officials, they just spoke an hour ago about the situation, the federal ICE raids that are underway and soon to escalate big time. It seems like the federal government is going into Minnesota, Minneapolis, St.
So it's Portland, Chicago, Minnesota, New York, Michigan probably getting there.
So intense that you got lost in it. What was the main event? Was it the obsessed narcissist Jim Comey trying to sell his new book by threatening to assassinate Donald Trump? Was it Moody's, the rating agency which downgraded the U.S. debt on Friday? Was it Russia and Ukraine making minimal progress on peace in Turkey because the populations of Russia, Ukraine, and America's elite won't let peace happen? Was it the Supreme Court seemingly intent on a constitutional crisis by not allowing Donald Trump to immediately clear the country of criminal illegals, let alone those who had accepted Joe Biden's invitation to break into our country? Or was it something else? Friday night, the actual tape of Joe Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur was released. His answers were wandering, incoherent. And it forces a stark realization. No book, no apology is going to atone for this crime. The nation was saddled with a completely incompetent president for 4 years, and the rest of the world knew it, while our media and all the leading Democrats lied to the American public. Now everyone can see that there was a coup in 2020, and there was never a functioning president for 4 awful years. You could take.
I got one more with her.
Peace with Russia. They were stealing us blind. And this may lead right back to the senators and congressmen here who gave away billions for war without a second thought. The same senators and congressmen who are now attacking Secretary of War Hegseth and President Trump for cutting off the supply chains which bring killer drugs into the country. Our FBI runs the Ukrainian anti-corruption agencies, which brought down Andrei Yermak last Friday and other corrupt officials of the Zelensky regime in the past few weeks. Yermak had extraordinary power and was President Zelensky's top aide. People called him Zelensky's brain, the man who was actually running things in Ukraine. The Friday raid on Yermak's offices and apartment occurred one day after President Trump's Thanksgiving deadline for Ukraine peace. It happened just as Yermak was mouthing off to American media about how Ukraine would never cede land to Russia. President Trump says that's the precondition for peace, since Russia now holds the land. It also happened right after Ukraine removed the part of President Trump's peace plan, which calls for a full audit of all Ukraine aid. That would have revealed huge theft and kickbacks.
Okay. We will be doing the first Doug video.
I described them as communist, baby killer, pro-rainbow, probably the 2 of the biggest satanic forces in politics in the last 20 years. But other than that, they seem like nice guys.
It's Doug 30, y'all.
Welcome to Doug in Exile. Hope you guys have subscribed. It's okay if you don't, as long as you watch is better, but you won't get those notifications unless you ring that bell. Here is the clip. We did a video on this actually already, but Trump replayed this old clip because it goes into the Democrats admitting they're going to pack the Supreme Court.
I think the Supreme Court is a broken institution. We cannot leave in place without a discussion, at least, and I think without substantive reforms being put in place, this Supreme Court as it is presently constituted. If there is a Democratic trifecta in 2028, Supreme Court reform is something that has to be considered. Potentially expanding the court is something I think that also should be considered.
Why won't the Republicans have the balls to preemptively expand the Supreme Court if they're being vocal about what they're going to do, and they're going to do it? Can you imagine the backlash of what they would say about us being totalitarian and undermining the Supreme Court if we voted to expand the Supreme Court to 15 people and pack it with conservatives? Here's Trump's tweet in support of that video clip that he showed. This is what he wrote. Obama sycophant, the former Attorney General of the United States who did so much to hurt our country and who weaponized the Obama administration against the Republican Party, and me, Eric Holder, known as Fast and Furious, just gave a speech where he emphatically stated above all else that the Democrats will pack the Supreme Court and the United States if they get a chance. The word is he wants 21 radical left activist judges, not being satisfied with the heretofore 15 that they were seeking. It will be 21. They will destroy our Constitution. Absolutely true. And there's not a thing that the Republicans can do about it unless we terminate the filibuster, which will lead to an easy win of the midterms and an even easier win in the presidential election in 2028. This is all true. This is fair warning to Republicans that are too stupid. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, Rand Paul, and even some of the more traditional Republicans like even Mike Johnson may not think it is time to go radical. But that just means that you're not addressing the enemy coming into the gates, which is the Democrats. They will expand the Supreme Court. And then we have to sit there and always play catch up and go, this is against our tradition. This is against conservative constitutional values, without realizing that half of your country are done with the Constitution. They want to destroy it. They're going to have the Supreme Court completely rewrite that thing to bring in their communist age, their feminist empire. And Republicans, they're too stupid to fight. That's my theory on it. Why would the Republicans even think about giving them this opportunity? The American people don't want gridlock. They want their leaders to get things done, terminate the filibuster, and have the most successful 4 years in the history of our country by far, with not even the hint of a shutdown of our great nation. Now, you know what will happen is when the Democrats destroy the country, then everyone will look back and go, Trump called it back when he said we should simply overturn the filibuster. Here's Barack Obama claiming mainstream news, Barack Obama, the most dangerous lying scumbag, fake rackpat, fake intellectual. The philosopher king is here, guys. It's Barack Obama.
Is there one outlet out there that you would consider the least biased, sort of the most straight news?
Here's the thing. I actually think that the mainstream news still does a very good job of just presenting facts.
What a lying sack. What a liar. The mainstream news still, he's saying they're still doing the Democrat thing, guys. They still do a good job of presenting the mainstream facts, the news. He's on CBS 5, by the way, if I turn and look at the logo here. In other words, Barack Obama never poops where he eats. You don't throw your buddies under the bus when they're doing a yeoman's work of covering up for you, lying for you, advocating for you and attacking the other side. So if Democrat media is still doing that, then Obama's going, they're still really good at presenting the facts, like that Biden is sharp as attack, that the borders were closed when they were letting 20 million at least illegals come in. You know, the lie after lie. 2 masks, 1 mask works, 3 masks, 1 booster shot, 50 booster shots, vaccine passport, social distancing, unless you're marching in a Black Lives Matter riot, then it's okay to not wear a mask and not social distance. The lies, we were buried in lies. Here's more lies from Barack Obama.
I think cable, regardless of the cable station, has fallen prey to the same economic imperatives.
He wouldn't be a very good communist if he wasn't attacking the free market of cable. He's like, they have these incentives, you know, profit, paying the bills, rewarding pharmaceuticals that buy all their ad space.
That we're seeing in every other type of news, which is you are deliberately controversial, deliberately aggressive, deliberately trying to make people feel angry and aggrieved because that attracts attention.
I just want to say that Michelle on her podcast did that, his wife. He did it when he visited them, when he was yelling during the Biden campaign and telling blacks that they just don't want to vote for a woman, for Kamala Harris, because black men have a problem with misogyny. Who was deliberately divisive, and it brought him attention. That's the economy. People like conflict. It's why you watch a movie and there's a conflict in it. I'm not defending it and saying it's the good. I'm saying it's always been there. Barack Obama, you can keep your doctor. And then a guy called him a liar. That was real good marketing. Here's more on the warning. You guys know I don't like doing fear mongering, but Scott Jennings says this is what scares
you up at
him.
night, and what could Trump?
My energy bill dropped from $150 to $50 by doing this. My friends laughed at me when I spent $49 on.
How could he do better at addressing those concerns you have?
Well, what keeps me up at night? Losing elections. I mean, honestly, like the biggest danger to momentum is losing the next election. If they win, they will impeach the president again. If they win big and somehow get control of the Senate, I think Trump is right about this. They will eliminate the filibuster.
Yep.
If they were to win in 26 and 28, they will pack the courts.
Yep.
They will make DC and Puerto Rico states.
Yep.
They will do a lot of terrible things in a very, very short period of time. So what keeps me up at night is our political future. And I think we do have a lot of good things going right now, but it can all come to a screeching halt and go the exact opposite direction in the blink of an eye. So
that's what worries him and worries me too. Guys, it's losing elections. You can't win by losing. You can't win by these weirdo libertarian Epstein files conspiracies. That's why I'm pointing this community, my channel, my fellow patriots in exile. We are going to win. We're focusing on winning issues of the Republican Party winning, not just MAGA, because MAGA works through a Republican majority. So I'm done attacking the Republican Party. I know there's a lot of things on our side going, oh, the Republicans are as bad as the Democrats. No, we're not. No, we're not. That's a lie. Your only hope is that the Republican Party wins as a mass majority. The little 3% libertarians that are trying to get you to focus on UFOs, 9/11 being an inside job, Epstein files, all these ding-a-ling contrail conspiracies. I don't care. They're trivial. The Democrats are going to pack the Supreme Court and change the Constitution. Your country is over. They won't even allow you to talk about UFOs if you care about UFOs. They won't allow you to talk about, you will lose your right to free speech under the Democrats. That's what's at stake. I want to protect your ability to even fantasize about UFOs and the Epstein files, because that's all going to go away if the Democrat Party beats the Republican Party in 2026 and 2028, and we're going to win. Welcome to the community. Subscribe.
Okay, number one, I got one more. Doug, and we get to Benny's videos. 10 minutes.
And it shows you he's going to eventually roll. He's going to get caught along about, I think they can get him on about 3 different fronts. I remember Kash Patel saying they could go after James Comey on about 4 or 5 several fronts. So even though he temporarily got a reprieve out in Florida, there's more coming out on him too. They're going to get their guys. This is the most understaffed administration with the most corrective work to do. Welcome to Doug in Exile as we go to Trump's first post on Adam Schiff. This is what Trump posted. Great going, Anna Paulina. Adam Shifty Schiff is guilty of crimes against our country. So that's Trump's post. I believe this is a message to Pam Bondi and his Department of Justice to pull the trigger on this investigation. Here's Chicago Ray. Remember this, Anna Paulina Luna did something no other member of Congress did. She entered into the record the $32 million that Adam Schiff misappropriated for the Russia collusion lie. Trump voided the auto pen pardons of Schiff yesterday, so Schiff must stand trial for all his crimes. That's the messaging going around right now about. Here's my buddy Grums. He's a video game designer. He says, I'm very sorry it came to this. This is about immigration. It didn't have to, but you gamed the system to try to get votes and lock in your power. That's to the Democrat Party. And in doing so, you have created this problem. None of these solutions left are easy on addressing illegal aliens. And he's talking about Secretary Kristi Noem. Bad news for illegal aliens. We're coming for you. She said, I just met with the president, Kristi Noem posted. I'm recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. Our forefathers built this nation on blood, sweat, and unyielding love of freedom, not for foreign invaders to slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, or snatch the benefits owed to Americans. That's you and I paying into the system. We don't want them, not one. That's bad news, guys, for illegal immigrants, because it is time for them to go. And now I've got a quick word from you, the chat, on Chapter. Check this out. Here's from you, my people, saying, I called Chapter and oh my God, so happy I did. I was on the wrong plan for the last 6 years. And to think, I wasn't even going to call. Even if you think you got the best, call to check. They're super nice. I give them 5 stars. Guys, this is the only reason that I got into a partnership with Chapter when they agreed to fund this program. And I told them, look, this is high risk, man. I've been canceled by everyone, but my audience really needs help navigating the world of Medicare. I have a suspicion that many of them are overpaying. Well, now it's late in the season, so the phone call, you're going to be lucky to get in line. I have a couple of some good news, but call early. Tell them Doug in Exile sent you. They might write your phone down and have to call you right back, but you have till December 7th before this annual time season is up, and I really want you to get their help. Here's a guy that put this on Twitter. If you're on Medicare, I suggest calling Chapter. This is at my phone number, 631-961-8696. At Doug TenNapel recommended them. We called them yesterday, and they're saving us almost $2,000 a year, even after adding drug coverage. That's why I look good promoting Chapter, and I love that they help you save $2,000 a year. Hi, Doug. Richard at Chapter helped me save $800 a year. So when my brother called Friday saying his prescription drug policy was canceled and asking for my advice, I gave him Chapter's number. That's the number that I provide here, and told him to call early tomorrow. He did not get a new policy for himself. He did and got a new policy for himself, his wife, and adult son. Thanks, Doug. And of course, to all of you, it is now time for you to call Chapter as soon as possible to save that money. Get in line, guys. The number is 631-961-8696. Call my friends at Chapter. Tell them Doug in Exile sent you at 631-961-8696. And now back to our show. Okay, this one I like, this takedown by Andy Biggs, just absolutely slamming the Democrat, a guy named Frost.
What does the T in TPS stand for? He is creating
what is the T?
more undocumented
No.
people.
I answered your question. Answer mine. What does the T stand for?
Temporary protective status.
The T stands for temporary protective class. And here's the deal. Temporary parole status. That's what it stands for. And what that means is we're going to parole you in for a period of time. We have people who have been paroled in for their temporary period of time for more than 20 years. More than 20 years.
They're still illegal. It's been 20 years. They've been temporary for 20 years. That does not make them a citizen.
And they won't go home.
So you're saying,
and I'm suggesting they need to go home.
And
That's what President Trump. That's what President Trump's suggesting. I think that's what the American people want. And when we get back to this question,
none of the polls show that now.
I'm sorry.
None of the polls show that now. The American people are overwhelmingly against what this president's doing in immigration. In fact, for the first time in
I don't care what the polls say. Time for them to go. I don't care that it's unpopular.
history, more people are with us.
I'll take my time. I'll take my time back. I was respectful and let you ask your question. I disagree with you. I disagree with what your interpretation, what polling is saying. What I'm suggesting to you is this bill corrects an inequity. So let me give you an example. How many people are in Congress from California that shouldn't be here because you overcounted, including apportionment of illegal aliens? By some estimates, it's as high as 7.
7 seats shouldn't be there because they counted temporary status illegals into our census to apportion our House of Representatives seats.
Get all the perks with a PF Black Card for $1 down and $24.99 a month. Deal ends Friday, December 5th.
Wait, there's more. Letitia James on abortion being argued in the Supreme Court right now. It's shaping up to be a bad week for blue state AGs like Letitia James, Attorney General, who like to bully pro-life pregnancy centers. That's why we're wearing today the first Planned Parenthood. These are pagan sacrificing babies to Moloch. Letitia James, Democrats. That's why you never put an X next to a baby-killing Democrat. Today, New York said Letitia James lost a unanimous ruling at the Second Circuit. That's good news. Over her attempt to silence and punish crisis pregnancy centers who inform women about abortion pill reversal treatment. It's now legal, thanks to the Second Circuit. They're just defending free speech, guys. That's radical to Democrat baby killers. Tomorrow, New Jersey's Matthew Platkin will answer for his lawfare against pregnancy centers at the U.S. Supreme Court. That's today. Being argued right now at the Supreme Court. Pray for the unborn in America, guys. This is a national embarrassment that we are still sacrificing our babies to Moloch. ADF Legal is honored to represent pro-life pregnancy centers in both cases and many others. The abortion lobby's concerted harassment campaign against local pro-life ministries is shocking and shameful. Women deserve better than abortion. We won't stop fighting for the charities that exist to give them a real voice. And there's evil Letitia James. I just want to let all you guys know that when the beloved Miss Maple and I tithe some of our income for this show, it goes to local crisis pregnancy centers. Just by watching videos on this channel and subscribing, you're giving to crisis pregnancy centers to help struggling, mostly singled, in trouble moms. Now, wait, more news. Breaking, the New York Times reports that the story from the Washington Post that alleged that Pete Hegseth ordered narco-terrorists who survived an attack to be killed is false. From the article, the Post article did not provide context that Mr. Hegseth gave what its sources described as a spoken order to kill everyone. That's the New York Times, liberal New York Times, correcting the New York Post. That's good news. Here's Bill O'Reilly on the subject.
This is the beginning of a hellacious campaign to undermine the president of the United States leading up to the midterm election. Every day, every way. Any mistake made is going to be amplified to a hysterical level. It is a well thought out campaign. And this is the beginning. Epstein was the beginning, okay? And now this is number 2. But that's what you're going to see.
This is campaign season, guys. That's why I was shocked to see Marjorie Taylor Greene voicing against these bombings or these shootings of Venezuelan drug ships yesterday. She's on the wrong side. She's on the wrong side of Epstein, probably paid for by Saudi Arabia. And here's libs of TikTok. Nearly 4 million non-citizens received a social security number during the Biden administration with zero vetting. 4 million. Here's the numbers all stacked up. 2021, we went from 250,000, 22, 590, 2023, 964. The year of 2024, Biden's last year in office, 2 million unvetted Social Security numbers so they can get those illegals voting. That's what the Democrats are running on. And finally, here's Secretary Sean Duffy. One day after, it just keeps getting worse and worse for Governor Tim Walz, he says. Good, because Tim Walz is a criminal. Almost our vice president. Just one day after 400 brave employees from Minnesota DHS exposed massive fraud, US DOT has discovered that 1/3 of non-domiciled CDLs were issued illegally in the state. Minnesota, you're on notice. You have 30 days to fix this or lose $30 million in federal funding. We support this. Keep watching, guys. That's how you fund all the good things. I'll keep you informed on the news on the greatest.
Hey, that was Doug's video. I got a 3-minute one before I do Benny.
And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from the helmet, wearing, crayon eating losers of Canada who think that they're so pro-Canada, and they don't even care if they're on the elbows up or elbows down side. They're just so pro-Canadian. They're like, at least we're not American. Yeah, because how's that working out for you guys with the communism? That pipeline that you guys have been protesting for Alberta to get because you don't want to see Alberta be prosperous, even though you benefit from Alberta with equalization payments to your has-been welfare loser provinces. Yeah, now that's going to get bankrolled by a bunch of American billionaires. And I'm so happy. I'm actually going to invest in their stocks. Why? Because fuck it, might as well get some of that money back. Oh, and by the way, the main guy that's financing it also financed Epstein. Gee, I wonder why. Let me just show. Anyways, that's Carney. That's Ghislaine Maxwell. And that's Carney's husband that looks like a Team U version of Mick Jagger. Now, they're also passing laws where cops can actually go into your mail. They can talk to your doctor, get all of your doctor information, including how many abortions you've had, how many vaccines you've had, with 0 warrants, with Bill C-2. Yeah, let me just show you that too. Broader bill powers would allow warrantless police requests to doctors, abortion clinics, and hotels. Read for yourself. Oh, yeah, and British Columbia is bringing in something where they can immediately suspend a driver's license by a police officer, no discretion of a court or any due process for up to 90 days for reckless driving. Now, if you guys are like, well, that's good. We don't like reckless driving. No, it's just going to target Alberta big trucks with diesel, too loud for the Karens of Vancouver. Can't have that. Oh, my goodness. Everybody's got to be on a Tesla worshiping Greta Thunberg, right? Here's the thing. Why is this allowed in Canada? Why is this so easy for a corrupt government to literally put forward their entire corruption just openly, and everyone's got their thumb in their ass? Because Canadians are passive aggressive and they have this crab in the bucket mentality. And you can see it on a provincial level if you don't see it on a personal level. So on a provincial level, you don't want to see Alberta prosper, right? Because you guys already think we are too prosperous up north in Alberta, right? You oil money, blah, blah, blah. Even though you benefit from it, with equalization payments. But Canadians are like that in their personal lives too. You think they want to see their neighbors do well? No, they don't, because they can't do well. So they're going to drag you down like a crab in the bucket. And if you've ever seen crabs in a bucket, the minute one tries to get out, the other ones pull it down because they'd rather all suffer together than have one winner outside of that bucket trying to help the other ones. It's a cult. It really is. And that was done through programming of decades of programming. And it was evident in 2020 and 2021 when people gladly called the cops on their neighbors for having more than 5 people over. And they were glad to call, and they would put that on Facebook. That is why the government is doing what it is.
Okay, Canadian news for our friends.
$22 million, that's my last offer.
22 million going once.
What's up, guys? Spenny. The Trump curse is 100% verifiably real. We have cataloged this and classified this across thousands of different incidences. One of my favorites is the Red Hen. Remember that restaurant that kicked out Sarah Sanders just because they hated her? Like, you can't eat here. You have the wrong skin color. It's like reverse Jim Crow laws. Anyway, that restaurant shut down forever after its owner was kicked off business groups for doing that, engaging in, what is this, civil rights violation? We don't like your politics, so you can't eat here? Okay. The Trump curse obviously applies to dozens of media companies, corporate media companies that have had to pay President Trump hundreds of millions of dollars for writing lies about him. It applies to former porn stars who, this is Stormy Daniels today. Ugly on the inside, ugly on the outside, no matter what, over a long enough time period, it's going to happen. Matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, same thing with Kathy Griffin, right? Held up President Trump's severed head. And now she looks like certainly like a Halloween prop, that's for sure. She's the one who looks like a prop. What the hell is going on with Kathy Griffin? These photos of her, woof. Again, she looks like a prop from a horror movie. She looks like a movie of the undead, right? That is, I mean, it looks, this is just video of her jogging, her like briskly walking around LA, but she does straight up look like she's on the set of a horror film. Anyway, same thing with Rosie, who admits with the herpes all over her face. What a terrible angle. Dude, are you even trying? She's not even trying. You can see you can see the open wounds on her face. Rosie O'Donnell says that Trump's first term made her overeat, overdrink, be very depressed. These are miserable people. And they all, are destroyed by the Trump curse. Really, it's just by living your life based on hatred of someone else. It's a terrible way to live life. I live life based on love of my country, my children, my family, actually in that reverse order, frankly. Go home to my wife, my kids, love my community, love my church, love my nation as well, a lot. These people live a life of hatred, and you can just see it warp who they are. They just become grotesque, goblin-esque figures of themselves. Oh, jeez. I mean, oh my gosh. Come on. Even Bruce Springsteen, who had a movie made about him. He had a movie. It was one of the worst performing biopics in the history of Hollywood. Is that Kathy Griffin? No, I guess it's just Bruce Springsteen's life. Springsteen looking weird. They're cracking down on the child smuggling. You know what I mean? That's right. Adrenochrome. Not as easy to get as it used to be. Anyway, it was a complete flop. The Bruce Springsteen movie was a joke. Didn't even make its money back. Speaking of people who are jokes, or who thought they were telling really funny jokes, speaking of child trafficking, remember when Ellen DeGeneres posted that P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or as I like to call him, Cuddle McSnuggle stuff? You don't need to know why. Remember when this is what she posted on his birthday? What a strange thing to say. She posted this, of course, on this would be Election Day 2016, right before Trump won. Odd that. It's almost like they never thought anyone was going to catch him. Diddy's, of course, now in prison for a couple of years, and Ellen has fled the country. Just a reminder what a fraud Ellen is. She fled the country to go to England. But back when she was stateside, back before Donald Trump ran for office, she was trying to traffic her own mother to Trump in an unbelievable clip here.
Beautiful woman up there. That's your mother, isn't it, huh?
Yeah. Look at her.
Hello.
Yeah.
How are
you? And she's available if you're interested. I like to offer her.
This is very pretty,
yeah.
actually.
So,
I would like to offer her, says Ellen.
My energy bill dropped from $150 to $50 by doing this. My friends laughed at me when I spent $49.
Ugh. All right. Anyway, Ellen DeGeneres moved to England, and almost immediately, tragedy struck. Here's Ellen trying to do manual labor, mow a lawn, and she needed a man to help her get out of the rut ditch that she got mower stuck in. It's feminism for you. There's also a whole video of them being incapable, her and her wife, Portia de Rossi, being incapable of rowing a boat to a boathouse. They have no way to, they can't get there because they can't muster the strength to row a boat. They lack the coordination and the strength to do it. It's really like a practice in humiliation here. Hard to watch. And this is because, well, their little Cotswold mansion immediately flooded just weeks after she fled the United States last year. This time last year, November 30th, Ellen DeGeneres' UK mansion floods right as she moves in. Well, you know, everyone likes a sequel. So we're proud to report that Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi's $22 million Cotswold mansion has flooded again. The Trump curse is alive and well. It's been for sale for 5 months after they put it on the market as the couple plots a return to the U.S. Oh, isn't that rich? Returning to America so soon? Ellen DeGeneres' farmhouse, the Cotswold, has been surrounded by floods again 5 months after the American former talk show host put it for sale for £22 million. Oh, we should all feel so sorry for Ellen. Ellen and her actress wife, Portia de Rossi, bought the 7-bedroom farm estate for $15 million. They bought it for $15 million, and now it's on the market for $22 million. No. Your life as a refugee is quite profitable for you, Ellen. You should move to the Somali parts of Minneapolis. Boy. But just weeks after the property was surrounded by floodwater, they began to look for a place on higher ground. The couple quickly put the 43-acre estate on the market, but for 50% more. It remains unsold. New photos show flooding impacting the estate again after the tributary, the River Thames, burst its banks. There it is. Goodness. Ellen did a one-woman show in July, which she told the audience that the farmhouse was now up for sale. One day later, it was revealed that she put the property in rolling countryside on the market. God. Oh boy. On a long enough time arc, all left-wing women become Eminem. Ellen had interior decorating work and some landscaping done, but the estate agent said at the time of the listing, it was an absolutely crazy price. They bought the home for $2.5 million over asking price. Okay. Why has $10 million been added in less than a year? Morons. So stupid. Feel bad for me. So he's trying to sell her flooded townhouse for $10 million just because Trump hurt her feelings. A source said Ellen was adamant that she and Portia were going to stay in the UK while Trump was in the White House, but evidently she's changed her mind. Oh. Apparently they miss their friends in sunny California and dread the thought of another British winter. Good. Look at this. Oh, I'm so impressed. Here's my pool in my my farmhouse. Look, here's where I have coffee every day and stare out of the English countryside. What a nightmare. Oh, what a nightmare. The Trump curse, man. She decided to move permanently into the Cotswold one day after Trump was elected. And now she's vowing to return home. Please, no. Please, no. $30 million. Feel bad for me. Everyone feel bad for me. Remember when she tortured a bunch of children?
How's it
With
going?
Diddy, with a surprise Diddy.
Glad you stopped in. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Dropping,
Kay's
airdropping Diddy on all of them.
I don't have no watch tonight.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm going to go a little bit longer.
Leave it to Ellen. Leave it to Ellen. Let the kids go. Let the kids go. This is cruelty. What are you doing? Get him away from the kids.
Normal
You have a
time.
restraining order? Ellen DeGeneres seen back in Montecito weeks after moving to England for good. Strange that. Anyway, I think it's really funny. And I think it's funny that she's like, good for you, Rosie, that she's crashing out with Rosie O'Donnell. That's great. Fantastic. And she's just not taking well to normal life. This is Ellen DeGeneres weed whacking. Please, I'm begging you, keep it up. Like, seriously, I'm like, please, it's too entertaining. Please continue. And don't ever return. Promise.
Okay, I've got 3 photos I'm going to share before I get to the last couple videos. I'm going to read one. This is not the end of the world. It is the end of the world into the beginning of another. The Hopi taught that those who remember their Creator, those who live in truth, those who stand in harmony will walk into the 5th world without fear. And every one of us who feels this shift knows that this is not about doom. It is about awakening. It is about alignment. It is about stepping into the role we came here to embody at the turning of an age. We are not waiting for the prophecy. We are fulfilling it. And see what we got down here at the bottom. We were born for this exact moment. So I thought that was important to read. Oh, yeah, Lori H. How's it going? Yeah, I got a little bit more. Might go to 7:30. Kay's resting tonight. I'm reading a couple there. Mark the date, December 4th. The cold moon. So what does that mean, you guys? Final supermoon of 2025. This event closed the supermoon trilogy with the highest full moon the Northern Hemisphere will experience till 2042. A major lunar standstill creates a rare extreme angle, giving the Northern Hemisphere the highest. Full moon of the cycle in the Southern Hemisphere is the lowest. Astrology connects the full moon with strong emotional insight, deep other awareness, and a clear pull towards renewal and closure as the year approaches its final weeks. Let's see here, I think I had one more. You will lose friends, you'll lose lovers, you'll lose comfort, but if in losing them you will find yourself you have gained more than kings. Okay, read a little bit. I'm gonna play. I think I'm going to end it with this lady here. Let me know if you guys, I'll stop it and I'll play another one. For 17 minutes to be the last one. She's good.
This holiday season, we're settling for nothing less than a perfect fit.
What the hell is this man doing? Christmas is canceled. I am the Grinch. Take my damn tree back to the house now.
Christmas is canceled.
You can't cancel a holiday.
Give it up, Stanley, and you will lose New Year's. Jim, take New Year's away from Stanley.
Michael.
Yay, it's December. It's finally the month where we all shop till we drop, pack presents under the tree, and pretend that we didn't go into debt and overspend on things that nobody asked for. Oh, wait, we're not doing that this year? Apparently, Christmas is being canceled over on social media. People online are starting to boycott consumerism, ditching gifts, and officially announcing to the world that they are done with holiday spending. Today, we're going to be diving into the TikToks, the rants, and the full-on I'm canceling Christmas declarations. And we're going to see who's actually taking a stand and who's just straight up pissed off at the price of wrapping paper.
Are you canceling Christmas? Have you heard about this? I have been entertaining the thought because I really am on board with the bigger picture, right? Like corporations suck. They're sucking the life out of us. They are not listening to us in the government, which is controlled by big corporations. I am struggling to really cancel Christmas because it is a magical time. I have a 3 and 5-year-old, so this might be the last year that my almost 6-year-old believes in Santa, and I want to give him a good Christmas. So I wanted to share some ideas of things that we are doing to try to participate in canceling Christmas without completely participating in canceling Christmas. First, there is a blackout. Have you heard about the boycott that is supposed to be from November 25th through December 2nd? We are certainly participating during that time. We're not doing Black Friday. We're not doing Cyber Monday, but we are still going to buy some gifts. But here's what we're doing. 1, we are going to do less. We're going to buy for less people. We're going to buy a little bit less for our kids. 2, we are going to focus on things that they need. They are small and they're growing fast. They need coats. They need shoes. So we're going to focus on things that they need. And then 3, for people that are not in my immediate family, which I'm considering my kids, my spouse, and our parents, I am buying local. So I went to a local like trade show, craft show last weekend, and I'm going to one, not this weekend, but next, and just keeping it in my community. But I know for my kids, I am going to have to buy some things from big box stores because I do need to get them some shoes and things like that. So if you're struggling to figure out how you can participate, maybe these are some good ideas for you.
Right off the bat, I think those are some really great ideas. So before we go any further, it does need to be clarified. When people say that they are canceling Christmas, they don't mean that Christmas is officially canceled. Obviously, there is a reason for the season. Like I said, they are just simply canceling the consumerism side because it really does feel like right now, all of us are kind of being sucked dry by these big corporations. Are we not? Food prices are high. Utilities are up. Basic necessities that we would buy usually, like toilet paper or shampoo and conditioner. Everything is outrageously priced now. It's like some people are making more money than they ever have before, but they're also having to spend more money than ever before. And the people that aren't making more money than ever before, the people that are just making enough to get by like they always have even less because of all of the inflating prices of things that we either think we need or don't really need at all. It's this whole idea of stop spending money on things. Celebrate the season by being with your family. Bake some cookies, give handmade gifts, give gifts of experiences, go do things together. Stop spending all of your money and going into debt on presents for people. And I really, really like the idea that she had of going to craft fairs and things and shopping small rather than big corporations for gift giving for immediate family. Before we go any further, I'm also going to say one of the things that my immediate family has decided to do when Christmas spending just started becoming too much for everybody. Because as soon as all of the kids became adults and got spouses and had children, it's like you end up having to feel obligated to, buying gifts for 20 or more people. And even at only $20 a gift, let's call it a $20 freaking gift card. That's a $400 drop for just 20 people. And then you consider things like you want to give gifts to teachers. You want to give gifts to coworkers that you might work with. A lot of people find themselves sinking themselves into thousands of dollars worth of debt just to give a freaking $20 gift to multiple people. All of that being said, over the last 5 years, my personal family has started just doing Secret Santa. Think about it like you're at work, you draw names at your office, you get one gift for your coworker and you call it good. We're actually doing that in our entire family. Like I go to my mother's house with, all of my siblings and spouses and kids, and we all draw names. So we're only responsible for buying one gift, and there's a $50 budget. We also, in addition to the one gift, we all also bring a under $20 gift that we play Nasty Christmas with, and we have a lot of fun doing that. And it takes up an entire evening of Christmas festivities because we're playing Nasty Christmas, everybody's stealing gifts from each other, and then we exchange our Secret Santa gifts and we call it good. The idea that you have to buy so many gifts for so many people is absolutely daunting. And I can see why people are wanting to cancel Christmas because they just can't simply do it anymore.
I've really come to dread the holidays, Christmas season specifically, which is a shame because it's my favorite time of year. But as I've gotten older, now I have kids and I have that to focus on. I sort of dread it because of all the stuff. Like I am dreading buying stuff. I'm dreading having stuff. I'm dreading filling my space up with more stuff. Like, give me all the other Christmas traditions. Give me the Christmas cookies and the Christmas movies and the fireplace and the decorating the Christmas tree and decorating in general. But like, part of me wishes we could just bypass the whole presents thing or have just a one present per person type of rule or something. Because I used to enjoy that when I was younger, and I was had a boyfriend I wanted to gift a gift to, and I really liked picking out a unique, special, singular gift for that person. But now with kids, it's this whole thing, right? And I know people do the 5 gift rule, and I don't think I can get my husband on board with that. And I feel like I'm worried we've already done the damage with my kids' expectations. And I don't know how to temper that.
That's something else too. I've heard a lot of people wanting to cancel Christmas because it's kind of like you go big once and then you're kind of expected to outdo yourself, especially when it comes to your kids. Like she just said, how do we explain to our kids that we're backing off now, that we're only doing 5 gifts when the kids might have in the past had a dozen gifts to open on Christmas morning, and you don't want to disappoint them by giving them less? How do you explain that? I'll tell you exactly how. You talk to them. You explain it to them. Or maybe you separate gifts so that they have more things to open. One of of the things that I have chosen to do is I go really, really big with stockings. The Christmas stockings are my favorite part about Christmas for my kids. I think it's because when I was a kid, my mom always went all out on stockings, and stockings were my favorite part, like opening up the stocking before the gifts. So I put a lot of energy into the stockings for my children. And one of the things that I will do is I will individually wrap little things in their stockings so that they have things to open. So yeah, it might be like a little $3 toy or a little $5 trinket, but it's wrapped and they're opening it versus, you know, only having big gifts that you're wrapping, because it's really, you know, the excitement of unwrapping and getting that surprise. And so I think if you wanted to back off on gifts for your kids, you could just wrap more little things and give them the illusion of having this massive, you know, Christmas, even though you backed off on the gifts that you're giving them. But if your kids are old enough, just talk to them. And depending on their age, at some point, kids need to know how expensive things are getting. As soon as my oldest son reached the age of about 13 or 14, I started telling him, I'm like, dude, you're getting to the age now where everything you want is super expensive. So you might see your little brother opening up, you know, 3 times as many gifts as you. It's because your shit's expensive. So I don't want to hear it.
Everybody talk about Christmas is canceled. Christmas is canceled. Well, I'm glad I was broke anyway. Try again on fucking Easter. Everybody talk about Christmas is canceled.
I was broke anyway. Try again on Easter.
Okay, after doing some budgeting, I have officially decided, against my better wishes, that everyone will be getting a rock for Christmas. Okay, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna find a rock that I think represents you, and you are getting that rock. Sorry, Mom. Love you.
You're getting a rock. I mean, you could like paint the rock. You could, you know, glue some googly eyes on it and do like the whole pet rock thing. That could be fun. That could even be a little fun activity. You get everybody together and you paint and decorate pet rocks, and then you gift them to each other for Christmas. It'd be cheap and fun entertainment and a memorable gift.
Another thing, I'm not telling y'all to cancel Christmas, but low-key cancel Christmas. I'm not saying don't put up your tree. I'm not saying don't do decorations and spend time with your kids. That's what you should be doing. But listen, don't be going out there and buying all that shit, man. You ain't got the money for it. You don't. And that's okay. And if you do got the money for it, you still don't need it. What you need it for? Them kids don't need it.
Seeking those who aren't done making medicine until every dose is just right.
I love her. Exactly. The people that want to go out and buy all these gifts, they probably can't afford it. They're probably going to put themselves in debt, and then they're going to be hating themselves come January because they spent all of this money on things that they didn't need to. And then the people that do have the money, the people that do want to just shower people in gifts and spend, you don't need to. So why do it? You don't need to. I'm also starting to hear people more and more say things like, I don't want to bring more things into my house. I get that. Like, I feel that. Unless I need something and you want to give me a gift and you ask me very, very specifically, what is it that you need? Then cool, get it for me if you can afford it. But if I don't need anything and there's nothing that I want, don't give me more shit to put in my house. Please, it's cluttered enough as it is.
This is the one year where you could say, you know what, guys, hey, we're going to do something a little different this year. And if you're going to buy gifts, okay, everybody get that one thing that the kids want. What's that one thing your kids want? Try to get that. Outside of that, hang it up. These corporations are depending on our money to fund whatever bullshit they got coming next. Everybody put their money back in their pockets. Pay your bills. That's what you need to do. Everybody be broke right after Christmas. Pay your fucking bills and spend time with your family. Y'all gonna be just fine without them new phones, them new laptops, them new bikes, them new. Listen, you don't need it. Sit down by and watch a movie with your kids and make some hot chocolate. Why don't y'all make some bread from scratch? Can go see the Christmas lights, but you need to sit down and have a real conversation with your kids, okay? Especially the kids that is always got their hand out and don't really know what's going on in the world.
Another big show
Sit down and have a conversation with your kids and let them know what's going on in the world.
I'll be back on
and if you want to prepare them for life, you better start talking to them now.
100%. I do not think that we should shelter our kids from the reality of life. They need to know what's going on. I'm not saying that if you are in this massive financial struggle that you need to put a financial burden on your children. That is not what I'm saying at all. I don't want you to scare your kids. I don't want your kids to think that you guys can't pay the bills, but kids need to know the difference between wants and needs. And they need to know how expensive their wants might be and how needs take priority over those wants. Your children will probably respect you for it, especially in the future when they look back and they'll say, you know what? We got to have a nice Christmas dinner and we played board games and we drank hot chocolate and we had memories made versus giving me a bunch of toys that I played with a little while and then they got donated to Goodwill. We need to bring back family traditions and stop buying so much crap.
Let's talk about canceling Christmas. My qualifications on the subject is I have a round belly and I'm wearing red like Santa Claus. So let's get into it. Canceling Christmas. Yes, we are. But maybe not in the way that you think. Canceling Christmas doesn't mean that you can't have like meaningful, fun moments with your family. It doesn't mean that you have to be Mr. Scrooge. What it means is you stop giving corporations your dollar. It means you get off your knees and stop glug-glugging corporations and eating up every single holiday gift set, holiday candy apple red cup, candy apple red bag, candy apple red boots. Cute. Stop spending your fucking money. Tell your family members, hey, I don't want anything for Christmas this year. Ha 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 ha. Your Christmas gift to me could be pared back spending for other people. If you're going to buy gifts, buy them locally. If you're going to buy something a gift, make it extra meaningful by purchasing from a local quality vendor.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people forget about craft fairs. There's so many craft fairs this time of year. Buy from a local small business. Don't go to Walmart for all of your gifts. Consider that.
I'm ready to cancel Christmas because I don't need any more stuff brought into my house. I cannot be the only one that is thinking about this. My girls are 6 and 8. And while I would love to have a ton of presents on the tree for them, I don't want any more stuff. They don't need more Barbies. They each have probably 10 or 15. They don't need more stuffies. They have more than enough. They don't need blankets. They don't need junk. They don't need just toys that they're not going to play with 2 months later. Like, what are we doing? We don't go all that out for Christmas anyway. And for us to travel anywhere, I mean, you're talking thousands of dollars. We don't do thousands of dollars for Christmas anyway. My girls want a giant monster truck, one of those huge monster trucks, which we do 1,000 hours outside every single year minimum. So we'll probably end up getting them that. But like, is it okay to just get one gift? Because stocking stuffers, that's just junk. That's a waste. They're 6 and 8. They don't need anything. So what are we doing when we want to just cancel Christmas altogether? Because I don't want to clean up any more stuff. And I want to get junk out of my house, not bring more in.
Yeah. I mean, I relate to that. Like I was saying, if we don't need something, don't give me more shit to put in my house. Please no. Please no. Just make it stop. Make all the stuff stop. How do you feel about this? Is this a movement that you can get behind? Is this a boycott that you're wanting to participate in? Again, not the actual canceling of the holiday, but canceling of the consumerism and the materialism that has now become associated with the holiday. Let me know what you think down in the comments below.
Okay, what a night. We didn't have no issues. I didn't have no mods tonight. So, okay, keep getting your rest. See you tomorrow. All right, God bless everybody. Remember, please hit the like and sub to the backup channel if you can find it. So, yeah, between 5, somewhere around 5, 6. So, stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and Karen's sign that she sent me, never give up. Signing off, Chico and Dude. Another night of intel. Unless something develops in between. Unless you guys